Welcome to Founders Club, the show for real estate entrepreneurs. On the note of these kind of clever strategies that you're known for, I know one that you're really excited about, or that you've been doing more of in the last couple of years, is the virtual wholesaling concept. So I just kind of wanted you to just break that down for us so we could get a little more understanding on how that strategy works.
You know, the thing with being a creative real estate investor is you really want to have multiple tools in your tool belt. When I first got into the business, I was thinking like very traditional, like a real estate agent. I think being a real estate agent is a great way to break into the business because, you know, there's classes set up. You can find a brokerage. They can mentor you, helps you with the legalities. But what I found is if I had to pick which side of the equation I wanted to be on, which side of the transaction, did I want to earn 3% or did I want to also be able to double and triple dip, earn 30, 40% returns or more? And so I started going down this path of just learning as much about creative real estate investing as possible. And one of the first strategies I found that I fell into was wholesaling, no money down real estate investing. And if you're watching this and you haven't heard of it, definitely want to look that up. I didn't invent the strategy. I did do really well with it. I've done well over 1,000 wholesale deals, probably like 2,000 or 3,000 now.
Wow.
But it's just the concept of putting out marketing, right? So you're sitting here and you're like, all right, I want to do a wholesale deal. So you're going to put out marketing, and there's a lot of ways to put out marketing. I'm sure you guys cover marketing 50 billion ways, but social media marketing, traditional marketing like direct mail, bandit signs. I get a lot of deals right now through text message marketing and cold calling and lots through DMs on social media. So anyway, somebody raises their hand and says, you know what, I'm interested in selling my house quick for cash. And the way I always think about it is when you look down your average American neighborhood, 90% of the homeowners, if they want to sell, they're going to go with the real estate agent. They're not that motivated. They're going to try and get the most that they possibly can for their property. And an agent's going to show up and say, well, if you fix this up and declutter over here and we, kind of do this marketing strategy, I think I can get you top dollar. And if there's no motivation, nobody's going to sell at a massive discount. But there's always about 10% of people that have lost their job. We could look around right now. There's a lot of people out of work or struggling to pay their bills. I just read an article yesterday, 40 million Americans are not paying their rent or their mortgage payment until towards the end of the month. So if you think about what's happening is they're jockeying their bills around, right? And then they're finally getting to the ability to pay. And that's a real scary thing, this tidal wave of potential defaults and stress that's coming down the pipeline. And so there's a lot of reasons people become really motivated. Losing their job, falling behind on payments, being relocated, inheriting an unwanted property, death, divorce, legal stuff,
right?
Dozens of reasons. And so when they get to that emotional place where all their money's tied up in their property and they need to sell quickly, an all cash offer seems very enticing. And so if you put out your marketing and say, I'll pay cash, they might raise their hand and say, hey, let's talk. So I would show up, I would work out a deal with them that makes sense to both of us. And I'd put their property under contract. And once you put a piece of real estate under contract in the United States, you have equitable interest. I now have the ability to take that paperwork and shop it around to landlords or rehabbers to see if they're interested in getting another deal. Because you're a principal in the transaction, you're allowed to do this without needing a real estate license. And once I understood that concept, I'm like, wow. And I did that a bunch of here locally in Arizona. And finally, I'm like, can I do this everywhere? Like, what's stopping me from doing this in another state where maybe if I send out direct mail here in Arizona, I might get a 2% return on my direct mail. But if I send it somewhere in Alabama, I get an 8% return or a 20% return. It's like, wow, I get a lot more bang for my marketing buck over there. And that's where virtual wholesaling, it's the same concept as doing it locally. You're just doing it remotely, which does have some nuances, meaning you got to have some relationships and what we would call boots on the ground. A lot of times it's a real estate agent. I call local agents that are investor friendly and I say, hey, I'm putting out marketing in the area. One of two things happens when I put out my marketing. Either they say, yeah, I'm interested in selling. I need an all cash offer. I want to close quick. I need the money. Or they say, you know what, I'm not that motivated. I'd rather try and get more for my property. Win-win for you both ways, because I'm going to tee you up as an agent to go get a listing.
Yep.
And so I have a lot of agent relationships I do that with. And I just found it allowed me to scale a lot faster.
When you find those deals that are in a market that isn't your local market, are you leveraging those agents to work with their investors? Is that kind of the strategy, so that as soon as you find the deal, they can unload it for you fairly quickly, or at least give you some leads of people that will buy those kinds of deals?
It's part of it. It's part of the market. So once you get a house under contract, you got to boot back up your marketing again to find the landlords, find the rehabbers. If the agent that you're working with has a pool of buyers that they're working with, that's awesome. If not, a good deal will sell itself. A lot of people come to me and they say, Cody, should I do a buyer's list first and try and build relationships with cash buyers, or should I go find deals first? And mine is do both at the same time, but focus on getting the deals, because a good deal is going to sell itself. Now, I will say, if you do have cash buyers, you don't need a lot of them. You just need serious buyers, and you know what they want. They tell you what they want, and then you go and find what they want, right? So it's almost like a reverse wholesaling scenario. And if you do that, you don't need a ton of resources. You don't need a huge buyer pool. A lot of times on social media, believe it or not, I'll put out a deal on a Facebook group. I get 10, 20, 30 inquiries and set some appointments. I'll call my agent, hey, or I'll call my boots on the ground. Sometimes it's just another local wholesaler there, and I'll just say, hey, can you go meet some potential buyers at the property, bring the contract, let's go. And I'll split the profits with them. So it's a win-win, because it's a co-wholesaling relationship. Yeah, everybody wins.
Good distinction there too, because if you get them in on the action, I'm sure they're a lot more motivated.
You get good agents on your team and you pay them really well. Like, you don't nitpick their commissions and stuff like that. They are going to 10x ROI anything that it's going to cost you in 3% commissions or whatever. And in fact, my goal is to pay them more than they could earn anywhere else, because then they're like, Sperber's like my main dude. Like, I like this guy. Yeah. He brings the big money deals. Now
they're fighting over you instead of the other way around.
Exactly.
Great distinction. If you're new to the channel, my name is Oliver, and I'm a 3-time Inc. 500 real estate entrepreneur. I'm a co-founder of a brokerage with over 1,000 agents doing $4 billion in sales, and I'm an active real estate investor. But most importantly, I'm passionate about helping you grow your real estate business. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.